Well, hello there, and welcome to another episode of the South African Cricket Podcast. My name is Mpho and I've got Tim here with me. We talk all things South African cricket, and we're going to be talking everything that happened on the weekend, but it looked like it culminated to Sunday with the Proteas playing, and we also had the CSA T20 Challenge. So those are our main things. We're going to preview a little bit of that Ireland series towards the back end that the Proteas women are going to be playing on Friday. But mostly it is that. But remember, we're a South African Cricket Podcast. You can find us at SA Cricket Pod on X in the byline there at the bottom. Subscribe to the South African Cricket Podcast YouTube channel and also the South African Cricket Podcast on Apple Podcast and Spotify. You can also buy some coffee at buymeacoffee.com/SA Cricket Pod. You can also email us at sacricketpod@gmail.com. The QR code on the top left of your screen, that's also a link to take you to the Buy Me Coffee website. And there's also on YouTube on the bottom right, also QR code to take you to the same place. We just got it covered. You want to make sure that you help us, right? We do this for love of cricket, but love of cricket doesn't put food on the table. And we'd also like to grow this podcast, and the revamp and the renaming, it's all thanks to you. So thank you very much for your contributions. Tim, how are you doing?
All good, man. All good. After a very eventful Sunday, I obviously told you on the when we were offline, I said that I went to go and see a musician when both games were effectively over, and when I came back, they both went to rather eventful places, rather eventful close finishes.
Yeah. No, let's start with that, right? Okay. So I had a funeral to attend on Sunday, so I couldn't watch anything. But I did watch stuff on Monday, and I got caught up. And my word, did I miss out? But I've watched all games, and I'm ready. This South African cricket team. Let's start with the Proteas. This South African cricket team is the opposite to the Indian cricket team. Fight me, don't fight me. The Test team. The Indian Test team doesn't have any senior players. The South African ODI team doesn't have a lot of senior players. Obviously, David Miller wasn't playing. Timber wasn't playing. Obviously, you know that Heino Klaasen is no longer playing. Obviously, Quinton is coming back, right? But it felt like, as I looked at these teams, I was like, oh, India have the opposite problem to us, right? They can't put runs down in the Test matches because they don't have experienced players to kind of be the glue, and the youngsters are just playing their way and not changing who they are. But then on the other side, I look at Shukri and I'm like, it's coming together. It's slowly coming together for the Proteas. Before this series, I'd have told you my biggest worry would have been that middle order, that I have no issues with Rix and Aiden at the top, and Quinton coming in helps. But after Quinton, I don't know what I'm going to get. Yes, Matthew Bretsky started the internationals, the one-day internationals on like a house on fire, half centuries everywhere, half centuries under the mat. But you didn't know what he would do, what would happen if he came up against a quality attack like India. Well, now we know. That middle order, when we were 11 for 3, held on. And if I told you, Tim, at 11 for 3, we're going to get to 3-3-2, you'd probably laugh at me because we've seen this story before. 11 for 3, soft middle, or the middle order becomes very soft, and then all of a sudden we get to 220, and that's all she wrote. And I know I said on Friday or Thursday that I'd love this team to get to 300, 330, and see what it is, right? And we got there. India got to 348, we got to 330. But there were a couple of reasons why we were close in this game. The death bowling by Corbin was amazing. We were in heaps of trouble at, they're 276 for 5 when they lost the 5th wicket when Virat Kohli went out in the 43rd over. We ended up getting them in those final 8 overs to 347. They were supposed to get to 360. Right? When I saw the score during the day, I was like, ooh, this is going to be a bad one. They might even get to 400. And did really well. Corbin Bosch bowled really well in the death. And Yeah, I was really, really impressed. And so that kind of set us up. We still have an issue. In this format, you need to take wickets regularly. You can't allow teams to hold wickets till the end. And India had the perfect formula. They got to the 40th over. They were 4 wickets down. You can get 120 from that point in time. They did it. They got half of that, which is awesome. That I loved, Tim. Then the other thing I loved was that middle order when we were batting. They held us together, right? Shout out to Tony DeZorzi, Matthew Bretsky, 72 of 80, Tony DeZorzi, 39 of 35, Divo Brevis, 37 of 28. But the ones that shocked us the most, the ones where we were like, we're in trouble, at 228 for 7. It was, it was Corbin Bosch and Marco Jansen. They got 70 of 39, Marco got, and Corbin got 67 of 51. We don't have an all-rounder problem anymore, Tim. We don't. These guys are growing into international cricket and they're batting with responsibility and they're batting also aggressively. And there's nothing more that I can ask for. And if I'm Shooks, I'm like, yeah, we lost. They didn't make us grovel. They beat us, yeah, and we were close. We had a shot in the final over. Needing 18 off the final over is more. I would have chopped off your hand the moment at what is it? At when they were like 30 overs and when Virat just scored his 100. I'd have chopped off your hand. We're like, yeah, he'll score 135, but you'll still need 18 off the last over. Tim, is that how you saw it?
Yeah, broadly speaking, I did. There were some things that concerned me, but you're right. To focus on the positives, we don't have an all-rounder problem. And I'd have to ask our listeners, has there been a more impactful Proteas player in the last 25 years than Corbin Bosch? I really don't think there has.
What do you mean more impactful?
Well, everything that he plays in, whether it is red ball, white ball, 50 overs, T20s, test matches, he has an impact.
I'd like to remind you of a certain Vernon Philander. Started his career similar time as Corbin, lit up the world with his bowling, was handy with the bat. Look, he's not Corbin-esque in terms of batting, right? But Vern, back then, it was a find. He was impactful, surely. Even across, okay, T20, yeah, I'll give you that. But T20 was new back then.
The only thing that I would say is Philander was getting loads of wickets. He was doing stuff for Province that everybody in Province could see.
Oh, yes. We all were wanting him to play. I get it. Because Corbin wasn't doing anything for the Titans.
Corbin wasn't knocking the door down, saying, I need to be picked. I was sitting here going, we need an all-rounder. These are the 5 names. And Corbin wasn't on those 5 names.
Heck, I think he even put Dar Khalim there before him.
I mean, he just wasn't, we weren't speaking about it. So I can't speak highly enough about Corbin at the moment. But broadly, I agree. What was very pleasing for me was Nigel Berger's performance with the ball. I thought for large parts of that, I didn't think we bowled well enough. And I think that's where we lost it. We didn't lose it in the batting, even though we were 11 for 3. I thought that they actually got too many. Teams that are 200 for 2 after 30 overs very rarely actually get to 400. I don't know why that is. It's just it never really plans out that they actually get to 400. It's.
I think they just get too aggressive.
Yeah, that's probably part of it. But
yeah,
I think for the first 25 overs certainly. Putting Nandre Berger aside, who I thought was absolutely fantastic. I thought he bowled really, really well. I don't think we bowled all that well. If you compare us to the way India bowled, we bowled far too full. Far too many free beats. The amount of bowlers that were bowling 3 or 4 good balls at the over, and then it would be the half volley outside the off stump, and then it would be a half volley down the leg side, and it would be a half tracker. We were not able, what we needed more rush. We needed more rush to be 1 for 35. That's what we needed. We needed him to just stem the flow of runs, and we didn't have that kind of a bowler. That was a problem. But yeah.
No, I'm saying if you look at it, Lungi's not playing and he's in the squad. Obviously, Kagiso's gone home. And you normally rely on a Lungi in that middle overs to kind of stem it with Keshav, right? And yes, you're giving guys a chance and you're opening up the thing. And that's what we're doing right now in the ODIs, right? We're giving guys a chance, right? Wins and losses here don't matter. It's how you play, and you want to see guys play. And Pren didn't have a great time as an off spinner. And yeah, it would have been interesting if Kesh was there, but there's going to be a time where Kesh won't be there. So we need to find that spinning that spinning option, right? And to some extent, I kind of feel for Sen. I'd have loved for him to be here if you're gonna rest Kesh, right, from the test series, right? But I get Pren also needs a chance. We've got so many spinners, right? Heck, right now I'd even try Simon Harmer, right? And I think we'll get there, right? But I think Shooks wants to see, because Pren is more of a limited overs bowler than a 4-day bowler. But yeah, look, I'm not mad. He had a bad day out, but he wasn't like blown out the attack. He wasn't going for 10 and over. It was 7.3. But Kesh would go for 5. And that's just the difference between the two of them. But even if you look at it, Bartman, first time back in a while, he went for 6 runs and over. Corbs went for 6.6. Nandre went for 6.5. Marco, who's our wicket taker, went for 7.6. So there's yes, Marco's growing into a senior bowler nature, but with a white ball, it's a lot harder. And we know that, right? But like, you're missing your guys, your Kagisos, you're missing your Lungis. And if they come into the side, it kind of adds a little bit more. But it's time for us to see, and that's what hurt us for the first time in a very long time. The bowlers didn't come to the party.
Yeah, no, and you're right. Particularly the 50 overs, the results are not the imperative. It's to see, as you say, those fringe players whether they can hack it. But I hope they learn. If there's one lesson, I actually don't have a lesson for the batters, because the batters, outside of the 11 for 3, they really came to the party and they really gave us a really good chance of winning the game. One lesson: you can't bowl too full on these pitches. If you bowl too full on these pitches, I'd rather you bowl too short. Bowl too full on these very true, flat, hard pitches. These outfields are quick, so you are going to go. If you pierce the infield, it's going to go for the boundary. I'd rather you were a little bit short than a little bit full on these very, very true pitches, because I don't want Kohli and Rohit coming on the right front foot to our bowlers. I want them to be playing on the back foot or somewhere in between. Look, that's the one lesson I would say to the bowlers.
So the thing for me is, and I think for me, the thing is, these guys, obviously, Kohli and Rohit are just staple names, right? And they haven't played cricket in a while. And so I was thinking before the game, I was like, they could actually get out cheaply, right? And to a certain extent, yeah, this is where plans are more important. Like in Test cricket, you can get away with a lot, right? But in ODI cricket, you can't. And you need to be consistent, which is why the likes of Sean Pollock, the likes of Vern, the likes of Makaya, the likes of Dale made their name in this format, right? Yes, they were test greats, but they transferred that test form into thingy, and which is why I look at Corbin and I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. You were disciplined in the red ball stuff. You're becoming better in the white ball. The only thing I'd say about Marco is, yeah, fine, you took us the wickets and you went for 7.6, 1 wide. That's no balls. Very happy with that. Incredibly happy with that. Our extras were 9. That 10. That for me was like, yeah, it's a good disciplined day. It's just the lines and the lengths. It's when you release the ball, when you get it up there, and you also have to learn to adapt very quickly. And in ODIs, you only have a finite number of balls. You don't have all day. There's no second or there is a second spell, but there's no third or fourth spell for you to kind of figure it out. You got to be hitting your straps from the get-go. And outside of Jaiswal's wicket, after that, it was just Kohli and Sharma, right? And yes, Timber's not there. And yes, Quinny's coming back. But even that was disappointing, right? It was like, ooh, Quinny. But we know what he can bring. And I think you're kind of seeing, remember we're talking about who's opening? Aiden's opening, Quinny's at 3.
Don't agree with it, but yes, I see it.
Let's actually go there. Let's actually go there because Timber comes back, right? And it complicates a lot of things, right? Why don't you agree with Aiden opening and Quinny at 3?
No.
Or Rix, Aiden and Rix.
My issue is Quinton. If you're gonna bring Quinton back, Quinton has to open. He absolutely has to be opening, putting the impact on the bowler. That's where he gets his fire from. Even in the white ball format, number 3 is a very sort of specialist position. He's got to be opening. Now, I suppose you can have an argument as to who his partner should be. Personally, I think it should be Aiden. And I think that Rix would be the guy that misses out because with Timber returns, Rix is the guy that misses out for me.
And then so who bats at 3? Timber bats at 3.
Timber bats at 3 for me. Yeah.
Oh. With Tony in the side.
I think there was a debate about that. As well as Tony played, I think there's a debate about whether long term that works. But for me, it makes it for me. If Quinton returns, it makes Rix and Tony's position complicated. I don't think Rix makes it. I don't think Rix makes it. Tony probably does make it, and we have a discussion about where is the best to get out. Where the best position for him is. But for me, if you're going to bring Quinton back, if you're going to bring somebody with that X factor, with that amount of quality, put him in his best position. His best position is an opener. And then you worry about everybody else. If you want to move Aiden to 3 and put Timber as an opener, okay, fine. But my overall point is you can't be moving Quinton. Quinton's quality is an opener. That's where he should be.
Look, because obviously we know that number 5 spot is the David Miller spot, and I think where Tony is, David Miller's not playing in the series, right? So you have a situation where it's probably Ruben Harman who's going to be swapping with Tony. I like Tony in the middle order. I think it works for him, right? Especially in this world where we're missing someone who's going to bridge overs 15 to overs 35. If you tell Tony, dude, I don't care, like as long as you're ticking the runs over and your strike rate's at 100 plus, sit and enjoy, right? Someone who's going to be the foil of Timber. Because if you look at it, you've got AIDS who's a little aggressive. You've got Quinton who's aggressive, and that's the pairing I agree with at the top. Then you've got Timber who's not as aggressive, but he rotates the strike. Then you have Matthew Bretsky who is a modern day batter, so he's moving towards the aggressive side, right? And then you can't then have Devalt and someone else and just be like balls to the wall. And to a certain extent, when you looked at this Indian side, yes, Rohit and Virat are aggressive players, but they can change gears, right? They can change down. These modern players around them necessarily can't, right? And that was the importance of Rohit and Virat, is that they read the room. They didn't go as aggressively. They just kept that partnership going, not losing wickets. And for me, Tony is that. Tony is, if everything falls apart, he's the glue. And we saw that yesterday, right? They batted around him. He was the glue. Matthew Bretsky got into a rhythm and it worked. And then it started those partnerships that were going. So I'm happy with middle order Tony. I don't know if Tony's happy with middle order Tony, but I think at this point in time in his career, there's many chances for him to open at the top. Or get up to the top once obviously Timber moves away and David Miller moves away. Tony is a natural number 3 for this ODI side. I get it. But In this series, happy with him at 5. Very, very happy with him at 5. What I do want to see, and let's go into the changes, right, is probably Ruben Hartman coming in. He's also a little bit of a modern day batter. I think it might be a question. I don't want Matthew Bretsky out, because I think Matthew Bretsky solidified a side in the ODI starting 11. If I had to pick a starting team for the World Cup at the opening game, Matthew Bretsky's name is on that list, because a certain Rassie van der Dussen is not. And you can fight me all you want. I think Rassie would have been great here. But anyway, it's not the case. But Matthew has done enough to be a ODI player for the Proteas. Ryan, unfortunately, is 50-50. And the question for me is, if he's a backup opener, I'm happy to take him on tour. And backing up to Quinton. If Quinton can't play, Ryan comes in. If Aiden can't play, Ryan comes in, then you have the 2 left-handers, right? And so I'm happy with that. But to a certain extent, for me, I'd like to see Ruben Hartman. I'd like for him to get 2 games on this tour. We've seen Tony play in Pakistan. We know how good he is in the middle order. I'm very happy. For now, Tony's in any future ODI squads, right? If you're not playing David Miller, if he's not going, even if David Miller is going, Tony is there. Cover for whoever it is. So my 2 batting covers are Ryan and Tony going forward up until 2027, unless if form changes, right? The other people, I think Devolt is a shoo-in. So for me, that's the question. And the only thing is, I want to see Ruben Hartman at this level. And he's competing with Ryan and Tony for the backup batter spot, right? And you kind of then close out your batting, right? It's Quinton, it's Aiden, it's Timber, it's Matthew, it's Tony and or David and or Ruben if he makes it in, or even Ryan as the backup. But Ryan's obviously at the top, as we've spoken. And then it's number 6, which is, who was batting 6 yesterday? Devolt, Brevis. And that's my top 6, right? And then we just go into the all-rounder alley, right? And we'll talk about the bowling a little bit towards the back end. But is that, like, because I want Ruben to play in Raipur, and I want him to play in the last game. I don't care about the series as much as the Indian fans think we care about it, right? You can whitewash us 3-0, that's fine. But for me, I'm here to see players. And I liked what I saw from Tony in these conditions. You can take him out, put him to pasture. If Timber's going to be rested, and I think potentially you should play him for the last 2 and maybe rest Aiden, because we've seen Aiden, and try and get Ryan and Quinton to bat together as an option just to see. And give Aiden some rest and play with this, because the people who need batting is Ryan, it's Tony, it's Devolt, Timber, and Quinny, and then Ruben is your 6th guy who can move in, and Matthew just continue the run because he's on a purple patch. That's how I would go with it if I was Coach Shooks and his character monsters. Aiden's captaining the T20 side. Aiden, go watch some T20 Challenge, familiarize yourselves with some of the players, see what happened on Sunday, strategize, take a break, go find a beach in India, if you can, that type of stuff, just take a break, take a breather. The other person from the bowling side who I'd say take a breather is Marco Jansen. I think I've seen enough of Mark. If Lungi's not going to play, Marco must play. But I'm okay with going in with Lungi and Corbin and giving Corbin that extra responsibility and see how he can carry it as a senior bowler in the side with Nandre there. So it's Lungi, Nandre, and Corbin. And then, let Marco rest or play him in the T20s. As I speak, I must check if Marco's in the T20s, because if he's not, then it's bad podcasting. And he's not. So Marco's playing. The person who, Marco is playing on the T20. So rest Marco for the T20s. Let's see what Lungi has in store for this team. Look, I'm happy with resting Kesh and giving Prin the full series. I've got no issues with that. Give Bartman a chance as well. Like, Yeah, I wasn't mad with yesterday's bowling attack. I was like, yeah, guys need an opportunity to play. We need to build up our fast bowling again. And the only thing for me is I feel sorry for Joel Kutsia. It feels like the world is leaving him behind. This is the type of series he plays. But
yeah. I agree with everything. I can't really disagree with everything. From a bowling point of view, it was really good to see Bartman and Berger back. And you're right, I do think in a general sense, particularly in the back end, I thought Bartman was good. He was struggled at the start, but he did come back well, as you said, and restricted India to at least the gettable total. Ollie, you know me, I'm a big fan of Ruben. Was so impressed when he first came into the Proteas setup. He just fits. He fits into the Proteas setup really, really nicely. And as you say, I don't want him to just sit there as 12th man and bring on Drix. I want him to get some game time. The ODI setup, we were miles from the World Cup. The ODI setup is ideal for him now, given these next 2 games. I'm not overly concerned about where he bats, but somewhere in the middle order 4-5. I really want to hope he does get game time now. I really, really do, because as you rightly point out, winning is not the imperative here. Winning in the T20s is imperative because there's a World Cup much closer right the corner, and we do want to be beating a team that we will probably face in the semi-final or final. Should we get there in the World Cup. So I'd love to see those changes. I do think Ruben will get game time. I'm not sure about Lungi get game time. We'll see. We'll see. I think he likes this makeup of the bowling stocks, and he wants to give them a proper run. I think he would like to give Bosch,
Tim,
Berger, Bartman a proper run. But we'll see. We'll see.
Lungi's best suited for these conditions. He's the most skillful bowler we have.
I'm not disputing that. I'm simply pointing out it's all about seeing the stocks, what we have available. So seeing Bartman have a decent game in game 1 is not enough for Shukri. I don't think. That's what I would say. He would go.
That's what I'm saying.
Bartman is back. I want to see him get the series. Let's see if he
That's what I'm saying. Drop marker.
Yeah.
Well, not drop marker. Yeah. He scored a 70. But but then you're an all-rounder light. Yeah. That's my only issue about what the squad looks like, right? You're an all-rounder light, right? A batsman light. But whatever happened to Vian? Oh, Vian, they're leaving you behind in this format, dog. They are leaving you behind. Anyway, Proteas play India tomorrow in Raipur at 10 a.m. South African time. Then they play again on Saturday in Vizag at 10 a.m. as well. Both games are day-night matches. So it's going to be very interesting to see what Coach Shooks is cooking up. 1 point to close it out, Tim. You can see what he's doing. It's giving us test team feel. When Shukri started, he's tweaking, he's moving around. He started with guys he trusts. Now he's adding people and he's shaking things about. So it's not the final product, but best believe by 2027, I think we'll be ready to hopefully win this World Cup at home, because there's no way we're going into December and not being world champions. We want to complete. India once was telling us that we're world test champions, but they've won the T20 World Cup and the 50 over World Cup. Yeah, we want them all to. We want them all to, and we're coming to get them all. And the other one is the T20. We're going to talk about that next week, Monday, after the third ODI, to prepare us into that, because that's more important. And the team looks so different to what you would have expected. So okay, let's move on to the CSA T20 Challenge. Tim, probably the best CSA T20 Challenge we've had in years. And it's not because the teams who play on flat pitches won and were dominant. And it's not because the Lions and Titans were. It was because I think it was par for par. Everyone was at the same level. And there was no Proteas coming in and out to bolster the big teams, because this India tour, everybody was gone. And some of the smaller unions and smaller teams, not less wealthier as the others, as the big ones up here, managed to show us what they have. And we saw a lot of youngsters come through. And it was really, really great to see, Tim. Really great to see. Let's go through the results, and then we'll go through. So we spoke about the eliminator and the qualifier 1 in the last episode. Qualifier 2 did not happen. It was a no result, and it ended up in the Warriors advancing to the qualifier 2. I don't think there was a reserve day either. So yeah.
No, which is I would get to that. But no, there wasn't.
Yeah, but look, it's what it is, and the Warriors made it through into the final, and boy, did they make it into that final. Boland hosting, the Gold Rush Boland hosting the CSA T20 final. They batted first, Clyde Fontaine, the captain and wicketkeeper, and they managed to get 142. Grant Rulofson scored 28 of 19. Lehan Botha 51 of 45, and Frisco Adams 32 of 24. It kind of felt to me, Tim, like it was Cinderella. It was just after midnight for Boland, and they were just holding on in this final. And yeah, but 142 in Paul is competitive, very, very competitive, defendable. From a bowling perspective, Paul. But yeah, from a bowling perspective, the Warriors. Mutusami coming back from the Proteas, 2 for 23. Wesley Beja, 2 for 23 as well in 3 overs. Thomas Keba and Cohen Mungru took 1 wicket each for the Warriors. Then, batting-wise, the Warriors needing 143 to win. Jordan Hammond started them off really well, 74 of 53. Patrick Kruger, 11 of 13. Tristan Stubbs coming in as well, 37 of 32 before he got run out. And Mutusami 18 of 19, but it wasn't enough as the Warriors ended at 142. Sia Mahima taking 3 for 24 for the Boland, and Atamani taking 1 for 24. That then brought us the super over. So Tristan Stubbs' run out was in the second last ball of the match. He was running to win it and he didn't get there. So unfortunately, that was what it was. Super over happens. The Warriors are batting first. It was Stubbs and Herman. They scored 16 off the over. Stubbs took 4 of those balls. He scored 7 of 4 balls. Herman scored 9 with 1/6 of 2 balls, giving the Frisco Adams was the bowler, giving the 17-run target to Boland. Boland came out with Frisco Adams and Grant Rulofson. Frisco Adams went first ball. Grant Rulofson was not out on 3 and Clyde Fontaine not out on 2. Boland only getting to 6 with Apiwe Mnyanda, the destroyer in chief, and the Warriors are the CSA T20 Challenge winners. First singular win, because they've won a domestic thing before, but it was drawn, and so they shared it. This is the first time that they've won as a team alone since 2009, 2010, or 2010, 2011.
2009, 2010 season.
Yeah. So well done to Robbie P. Finally, it's come through, and it's just weird that when I look at that bowling attack, I sat there going, this is a bowling attack that's straight out of Boland. With Beja, with Mungru, with Mutusami. It was perfect for the conditions, and they studied it well, and his Proteas came back at the right time, and they did it for him. And so really, really happy for Robbie P. and his team. And yeah, Tim, I feel for Boland, but look, if in the silver lining is they get the full 15 points.
Yes, they do. And particularly for what we spoke about last season, but they looked at one point looked to be really striking in terms of relegation. Look, I'm delighted for the Warriors. I really am, and I would be happy with either win, because both teams they've got young squads, they're bringing in young talent, and they both got players those young talents have shone through. So that's a huge plus for them and for South African cricket. There were some unusual things though. Pollard decided to bat first, and Brett Proctor in commentary said they have been sick the last 6 fixtures here. Team chasing has won. So in terms of what we spoke about in the Women's World Cup, I think there was an element of this is the final. Let's get runs on the board and let's put pressure on the Warriors. I don't necessarily. All I'm saying is the stats said ball first, and it could have gone either way. It really could have gone either way. The other thing is what you alluded to at the beginning. This was the best T20 challenge competition for years. Absolutely is. And another thing which Brett Proctor alluded to after the match, he said he cannot remember a more exciting competition. And yet, it's a competition that wasn't advertised. It's a competition that had minimal or virtually none, or even worse, none exposure whatsoever. I was inundated with comments in my DMs on X saying I had no idea that the final was on, and I live in Paarl. That's a problem. I know all the money is in SA20, and that's fine, and that's good and all that stuff. But surely there should be a more broader look at this, and there should be at least some kind of exposure. The Proteas are flying, the men and women are flying. Both of them are getting money within the structures. South African cricket is doing well. We need to be doing better with our domestic competitions. I don't know how many years, both I don't know how many years it's been, but it's been years since we've had title sponsors. It is time Cricket South Africa did something about that. We are getting more sponsors.
And it's televised on SuperSport.
Yes.
It's there's a match of the week and they televise it and all that. So you can get sponsors.
Exactly. You can get sponsors. There are enough games on SuperSport where the sponsor can make money. And personally, I think you could actually go, we've got a sponsor, right, okay, we can have another half a dozen games on the television because we want to have that company making more money. You can do it. The amount of times when a game is on and I go onto the SuperSport channels and all they have is repeats. There's a T20 Challenge game on the CSA YouTube channel, but unless you are an ardent lover of cricket, you will not know about it. You will not know that there is a game, but a T20 game, which is a prelim competition to the SA20. Look, the leading run scorer of this competition has just been picked up by JSK. Now, how many people know that? Matthew de Villiers has just been picked up by JSK. Wouldn't you have liked to have seen Matthew de Villiers in the competition that is the prelim to the SA20 so you can see just how good or not good this particular individual is? Cricket South Africa has to be doing more than it is doing. This competition had 3 super overs, one of which was a double super over. It had 3 games that were done in the final over of the fixture. You cannot tell me that the South African T20, particularly this competition, does not deserve a title sponsor and more exposure. You cannot tell me that. It just does not fit right with me in any way, shape, or form. Last thing, I know I'm ranting, but the last thing, I want to take my hat off to both sets of players. Poland were magnificent throughout the competition. It's actually a shame that Keith Dutton got injured in the last couple of games, because I think he may well have taken them over the line, being the leading wicket taker a couple of rounds ago. But Robbie P, congratulations. You've got talent. You saw somebody, and you've come through. We've been critical of you. We've said you've had the talent, and you haven't necessarily transferred it to the Warriors. You've now done it. Done it with a young squad. You can now build on this. This is, I you know me. I'm not the biggest T20 fan, but this was a great competition, a great product, and there are a lot of players there that will now, in my opinion, in the years to come, get that SA20 contract. So it's a great competition. Really enjoyed it.
So now it's time to award. Well, congratulate those that finished in the top 10 runs and top 10 wickets. We have Matthew de Villiers in the top 10 runs, finishing top with 394 runs at a strike rate of 141 and an average of 65. Rassie van der Dussen coming in second, 275 runs, playing only 6 innings. Matthew de Villiers played 8 with a strike rate of 143 and an average of 55. So he still got it. Lihan Botha, 8 innings, 256 runs in third, average of 42, strike rate of 121. He's from Boland. Daniel Smith from Western Province, 228 runs at a strike rate of 178 and an average of 38. Reza Hendricks, 5 innings, 211 runs, average of 52, strike rate of 139. That's why he's back in the Proteas. JP King, one to look out for, 203 runs at an average of 50 and a strike rate of 161. Mo Manak from the Warriors, 199 runs, average of 28, strike rate of 139. Clyde Fortin from Boland, 196 runs, average of 21, strike rate of 150. Ludwig Schultz, still a youngster playing for Northwest University, 194 runs, an average of 32 and a strike rate of 148. And Josh van Heerden with 193 runs at an average of 38 and a strike rate of 129. Bowling wise, Imran Manak from Boland, 15 wickets at an average of 13, economy of 5.8. Clinton Steedman, good to see him back at the top, 14 wickets, economy of 6.83 and an average of 17. Ethan Bosch from the Dolphins, 13 wickets, average of 14, economy of 7.83. Keith Dudgeon, as you spoke about, from Boland, 13 wickets, average of 14, 8.27 economy. Joshua Brett, the leg spinner, 11 wickets, average of 19, economy of 7.21. Anrich Nokia is sitting at 6 with 11 wickets at an average of 21 and the economy of 7.47. He was playing for Dolphins. Cohen Mangru from the Warriors, 10 wickets alongside Evan Jones and Bear Swanepoel. Mangru with an average of 21 and an economy of 7. Evan Jones, an average of 14 and economy of 7.5. He only played 5 games. And Bear Swanepoel, an average of 22 for his 10 wickets and 10. Notables, and I'm just seeing them now. Thomas Kaba with 9 wickets. Wesley Beja with 9 wickets. Apu Mnyanda with 9 wickets. And I think it's Mtogo Zisi, Mbulelo Dube from Western Province with 9 wickets as well. Alfred Motwa and Onkenyaku. So really, really good to see those names coming up there as well. So well done, guys. But that brings us to Tim's team of the tournament. So Tim picked this team of the tournament. He opens with Rassie van der Dussen from the Lions. He takes Ludwig Schultz from Northwest, a youngster from, I think he's 21. From the Northwest. Matthew de Villiers was never going to miss this team. Jason Smith with a couple of cameos making it into the side. Some batters are mad at you right now, Tim. Daniel Smith coming in as well. Many batters are mad at you. Clyde Fortin is side eyeing you right now. Lihan Botha making it in for Boland. Then from a bowling perspective, an all-rounder, Ethan Bosch from the Dolphins, Joshua Brett from Western Province. You then have Imran Manak and Clinton Steedman from Boland and Apiwe Nyanda. Tim, I'm going to let the people fight you. I'm not going to fight you. Explain.
Okay, so Rossi was out of this world. The lines were terrible, but Rossi was out of this world. I thought Ludwig George was really impressive. I did sort of think about this. I didn't want to overload the ball line, so I could have had, for example, Grant Rudolphson. And I could have had him sort of down the order. I did sort of consider Grant Rudolphson. Matthew speaks for itself. Jason Smith, without his performances, they wouldn't have got as far as they did in the competition. He didn't necessarily look at the strike rate of Jason Smith. That's all I ask you to do. Go to his numbers and
I am going to Jason Smith. He had 196 strike rate, sitting in 19th. Okay, I get you. I get you, Tim.
That's all I'm asking. Taylor Smith his transformation into a T20 cricket. I cannot tell you the change in the last 12 months. I didn't see 12 months ago. I didn't see him as a T20 cricketer. I still played him, but I thought, no, they can need Province to need runs elsewhere. The transformation from obsessing about hitting the balls behind square to now knowing that you can hit the ball down the ground has been quite extraordinary. A strike rate of 176 speaks for itself. It's been absolutely out of this world. I knew he could do it, but it's taken him a while to take on T20 cricket and turn himself into a T20 cricketer. Leon Porter, I've been really impressed with this lad. I know the Bullen hierarchy really love him as an individual, as a character, as a fighter, but he did really, really well. Made 50 at the final, you make runs at the final. You didn't quite go all the way, but you show your character in a final. Then it gets, I think that I can argue and happily win the argument of the top six. I think I can take anyone on top six. Then I admit it gets a little bit tricky with these next two. I admit. It became a question of I wanted to have like 5.5 bowlers. I didn't want to have just 5 bowlers and maybe Jason Smith if somebody had a really terrible day.
These guys are not going to play, Tim.
So Ethan Bosch, I know, but you know me, I like to do things properly. Ethan Bosch's ability with the bat won it for me. I think he bowled well, maybe not as well as he could have, but I think his overall all-round ability just about gets him in. Joshua Brett, I think Joshua Brett has been sensational. In his first season, properly, first season of consistent game time, for large parts of the season, he was right up there in terms of leading wicket takers. Even towards the end when Province fell away, he's still right up there. It's very difficult to bowl leg spin in T20 cricket and not get tonked around. There was one game where he got tonked around. Outside of that, I think his overall numbers are really, really impressive. And actually, his batting is going to improve. He's going to see that his batting is actually going to improve. Imran Manak was superb. Absolutely out of this world. You can make an argument that the bowler should have won the competition just on Imran Manak's bowling performance because he was, even in that final where the Warriors were cruising, they needed 70 runs at 70 runs, 70 runs, 7 runs on over, 7 wickets in hand, all the sevens, and they were cruising. And he just said, you know what? No, you're not. I'm gonna. And obviously the leading wicket taker of the competition, Clinton finally gets into my team of the tournament.
Yeah,
sorry, Clinton, for missing you out in previous teams of the week. You were equally very impressive. And then I suppose this could be a little bit of a surprise, but I suppose he would be most improved cricketer over the last 12 months for me. I was really impressed with this lad, Mpho in this competition. 4 for 23 in an earlier game against Poland. And then he wasn't quite at his best in the normal part of the final, but that super over, the way he bowled that super over was so impressive. Yes, he had 16 to defend, but he bowled so well. I think it's so nice to see somebody bowling left arm quick and not afraid to bowl the Yorkers. He bowled quite a lot of Yorkers in that super over. I was really impressed with him. I'm really impressed with his overall performance. So I could take you to town at the top 7, and then it gets a little bit tricky, and then we can obviously get some Iman Manak and the bowlers, which is 4 more. But I'm happy with my team.
Yes.
I do want to touch on so Clyde Rudolphson and Piri from the Dolphins. They are notable mentions. I definitely thought about them, particularly Piri. I thought he was very good. I just wanted that extra bowling option, I'm afraid.
Okay. that is it. Nat, congratulations to everyone who made it to Tim's Team of the Week. Let's just let you know what the you said it was. Did you give me promotion or relegation? Oh, it was promotion. So promotion log looks like this in terms of the points that finished off the CSA T20 knockout. The Knights at the top, Eastern.
So, just to explain, these numbers include where you are currently in the 4-day series. So this is promotion relegation. Include the numbers where you are currently in the 4-day competition.
Yes. So we've reached halfway. Yeah, we've reached halfway, and this is what it looks like with half of the 4-day series and the CSA T20. The Knights looking very good. Eastern's in with a chance still. They just need to keep it up in the 4-day series and the 1-day cup. The Garden Route Badgers in 3rd. They have a chance. Inyati also has a chance. Mpumalanga has an outside chance. They just need to win one of these tournaments, and they're back in this. Limpopo, you could say, and Northern Cape are pretty much out of it from a promotion perspective. So that's where we are, and currently what the log looks like in Division 1 for relegation is that Boland is sitting pretty at the top with 22 points, Northwest Dragons on 18, the Dolphins on 17, the Warriors on 15, and then you come to the teams that are scraping the barrel right now. Western Province on 7 points, Lions third last on 4 points, the Titans second last on 2, and the Tuskers on 1. So they need big performances to get themselves back up onto log, and it will move. As wins and losses happen, this log will move. Outside of that, that brings us to the end of our show. Before I go, enjoy the Ashes starting tomorrow. Kawaja is out. I can tell you that for free, but you'll find out when you listen to us later on. So that's the timing for you to figure it out. And yeah, enjoy that, and then enjoy the Proteas men and the Proteas women. They play Ireland on Friday. They are in good spirits. Dane van Niekerk is back, and it's going to be interesting to see this new era of Proteas women as they work towards next year's T20 World Cup in England. So outside of that, from myself and Tim, remember, follow us on X at SA Cricket Pod. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're watching on YouTube now. Please also like and subscribe, and also follow us on Apple Podcast and Spotify. Hello everyone, please do send us comments there, and also you can buy some coffee at buymeacoffee.com/SA Cricket Pod. Also, the QR code now, it's on the right hand side of your screen. I moved it. Please use that for buy me a coffee, and the one at the bottom of the screen if you're watching on YouTube. So yeah, we try to cover all the bases. From ourselves, enjoy the week of cricket. We'll be back sometime later, probably on Thursday, discussing many things and maybe a possible interview. Outside of that, for myself and Tim, it's goodbye and asale. Kakahiso.